Welcome to everyone. Today our guest is MMA fighter Tom Mearns. Tom, can you please guide us through the introduction, say some things about yourself, your career, so we can continue with the interview. And thanks for accepting the interview call out. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Tom Mearns from Milton Keynes, 28 years of age, and I represent BST Academy, based in Northampton, and also, of course, my hometown, Milton Keynes. And I'm currently contracted to Cage Warriors, so I'm on the pursuit to get that world title, and that's what I'm gonna do. That's my goal.
How would
Yeah,
you
man.
describe your fighting style?
Fighting style is always changing, always changing. So that's what I'm using, like even the MMA as just to learn about everything, quite frankly. So I'll say it's all hard. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm coming from with it. So I'm good in the deep waters. You know, I like to go into the later rounds. At amateur, I've got knockout, only one knockout, but I finished a lot of fights with TKO finishes, and I usually would finish my fights. Always used to finish them. As time's gone on, obviously, I'm fighting some very good guys, so we're getting a lot of decisions. But I'm very active, proactive, and I like to work hard, like to graft it in the fight. I enjoy fighting that way, and I like to make my opponents work to my pace. Yeah.
So, pace pusher, right?
Yeah. I love putting on the pressure.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't know why. It just feels so good, and I love it when I see I get in range, I get in distance, and I don't know. Sometimes my opponents throw everything in the kitchen sink at me, and I just compose within the moment, and I always keep calm, more calm than they do, and I keep pressing forward, keep working for my finish. Um, I'll say with a bit more experience, when I refine my killer instinct, that's something that needs to be worked on. But I'm just enjoying it, and I'm not attached to anything in the sport. So I could describe my style now, but even by the next fight, it could be completely different. I can look back at old fights and I can always see it's fairly similar, but I can't attach to a style too much because I always want to be growing and developing.
That is outstanding. When did you start training MMA? When was the first time you met MMA?
Okay, so I was 16 years old and I've been training Taekwondo though for about 8 years at the time, or nearly 10 years. I wasn't all in with that, but that's where like the infatuation started. And I was working in a go-kart racing track and I had a friend there who was training jiu-jitsu. And we connected very well. And then he was training at a gym called Elite TC in Leighton Buzzard. So then I went down there at the age of 16, and then just had a few lessons. I wasn't all in at that time, and then by the age of 17, I went down to a gym because I met a coach there called Danny Batten. He was teaching there, and he was also teaching at a place in Milton Keynes. So the first time I grappled with him, actually, this is what really sparked my thoughts, because he asked me if I wanted to grapple with him, and I used to love lifting weights as a kid. I don't know why. It was maybe the purposeful feeling I would get from physically pushing myself. And like, he wasn't the most physically looking, like, threatening guy. And then when I rolled with him, he absolutely blew my mind. I just could not get my head around. It was like magic being performed on me, and obviously his jiu-jitsu was just that good. So then I went down to Total Dojo about a year later, where he was teaching because it was closer to home. And then I was training a lot with a guy called Tony Davis, who I've got so much gratitude for, because he's been very influential in my life in the early stage of my career. And then Danny Batten, who I'm still with till today. So yeah, I started at 17 really, and I had my first amateur fight at 18, and that was a good experience. Got the win too. Yeah, a nice little triangle finish. So it was a ringmasters tournament. It was good. Yeah.
Do you have some nickname or you're still Tom Mearns?
Tom Mearns, yeah. I don't really play many gimmicks or things like that. I'm sure I got a few. No, I don't have any nicknames. No, one will come eventually, but the time will come. when I went to Vegas, they were calling me Tommy the Hitman and Mearns after obviously Tommy Hearns. So I quite like that. So maybe Tommy Mearns, Tommy the Hitman Mearns, but that's what they called me out there. Yeah, sometimes people call me Matt Damon as well, when I look like him. But yeah, no fighting names as of yet.
So you said about the first amateur fight. How was your first professional fight?
First professional fight, that was a good one. So I had like if you look at online, you can't really see any of my amateur fights, but I had an extensive amateur career because I started on a circuit called Ringmasters. So that was down in Kent, and it was a day tournament. So you'd have like at least 3 fights in the day. So I kept fighting on these shows yearly, and then it took like 3 years to finally get the Ringmasters belt for me, which was amateur. And I had a long amateur career, and then I got unified some amateur titles on a show called Contenders, and then I had a traumatic injury that pulled me out of the game, and then some other things happened. So then I didn't fight again for like a whole year, but a good turnaround considering how bad the injury was. And you know, nothing outside of myself to help heal it, just you know, good rest, nutrition, and do you see what I'm saying? It took some time. So yeah, I had a bad year, rough year, and then I finally I pulled it together, and then I said, yeah, let's make my pro debut. So I fought a guy called Dominic Dillon. At the time, he was ranked the #1 amateur in the country, and then he fell to #2 because a guy called PK Zader, who I've trained with, who's a really good, intelligent fighter. So he was a highly ranked, and I was nowhere to be seen on it because I've been so inactive. And yeah, I got the TKO finish within the first round, like about, you know, 2.5 minutes in. I felt so sharp that day. I was so focused as well. I was just doing a labouring job, building, and then I was training every night. And of course, Danny Batten always had the winning strategies for me, and I was a lot more physically, you know, dominant than Dominic Dillon. But he was doing very well in the grappling because I can see he's very intelligent, you know, very intelligent fighter. But my physicality was way too much, especially when I made the cut down to featherweight. So yeah, I loved that. You know, that was a great fight, good test too. You know, but we got the finish in the first round.
How did you defeat Olaf Hauge?
Say again?
How did you defeat Olaf Hauge?
To Olaf Hauge. I defeated him with a head and arm choke. So I looked into him a little bit, and he had fought like a long time ago, and then he'd been inactive, stepped away from the game, and something clearly reignited the spark. So he looked very muscular, and when I fought him, I could see he had a lot of power. And from the first round, I took a leg kick, and I could feel it straight away. Like that was a lot of power. So I thought, okay, with the really powerful fighters, I do like to fight fire with fire, but not power. I like to, you know how I was saying to you earlier, I love to pressure fight. As soon as I took one of his kicks, you know, you can even go back and study the fight. I switched my stance, which was already, I was like, oh, fuck's sake, why did I do that? Because it was a giveaway. I already showed him I felt a lot of pain. So from the get-go, I just got on him, pressured him with hands, and then I started really attacking his cardio system. In my head, I kind of vision it like, you know, in Tekken where they've got the health bars, and you can see the health draining. I like to pressure my guys so much that I can see the spirit kind of diminish and bring that down. So as I started pressuring him, I felt him getting weaker again and again, and I crowded my work. So I really crowded the distance, and then I feel like I outstruck him. I knew he had an extensive Thai background, so what I did, he was getting me in the plum clinch, and I just started letting go with the body shots, you know, body, come over the head. I believe that dropped him. It was a long time ago now. And then from then, I just, his ground was really lacking, so I had a field day there. Just started going from position to position, took the back, and then that, you know, I thought he could have spun on top, so I got on top, took the mount position, and the head and arm choke was there, so I just took that straight away. You know, ear down. Yeah, it fitted in nicely. it was a smooth night that was. Yeah.
Before your Cage Warriors first fight, who was the toughest
Yeah.
pro opponent?
My toughest pro opponent was definitely Jordan Desborough. Um, he's a very smart fighter. Already he had four, because I'd only had four professional fights. So then I was coming up against a former world title challenger, and he had about triple my professional experience. But I was physically a lot bigger than Jordan Desborough, but vice versa. When I was in there with him, that was the first time I went the professional distance. So I had a really good, dance partner that night, someone that was with it. He's from Matt Inman's his coach, so they're always putting out solid fighters, them lot. And I really enjoyed that. It was such a close fight, but I preferred fighting Jordan Desborough to the rounds I finished in like my first four fights, because I started them first four all in the first round, and then I wanted to know more about myself, if you see what I'm saying, because I wanted the experience of going through that second round, the third round, because partly that's really is what like MMA has been. It is a very much a personal battle. That's one of the things I like about it most. That achievement of reaching a new place. So yeah, Jordan Desborough. He was smart. He was clued up. I couldn't quite get my shots off on him, and he had that experience and advantage on me. But I remember coming out for the third round, and I was like, oh, I might have lost one of these rounds, I don't know. So I said, I will beat you. And I remember him saying, like, you can't see it on the footage. He goes, excuse me, sorry. And I said, I will beat you. I was like, I'll fucking touch his glove, and then started pressing forward, trying to get the finish. But yeah, he was a great opponent. A lot of respect for Desborough. Definitely, he was my toughest professional fight at that stage of my career.
What can you say about your Cage Warriors debut versus Aiden Lee, and what do you think about Cage Warriors as a general? Your general thoughts of the promotion.
Okay, so from like a point of view, when I've been studying, like as an amateur coming up, I used to love tuning in to Cage Warriors. From that point of view, like I like to tune into the UFC. The level of competition on Cage Warriors has always been ruthless. I mean, it's Conor McGregor, it's Michael Bisping, it's Jack Henderson, it's Jack Shaw. Like the who's come up through Cage Warriors, and even like the people I fought in Cage Warriors, they're just that good. So I like it, and I like the feel. Like when you turn up to maybe a football game or a big anticipated sporting event, and you feel that energy. It's always been there at Cage Warriors. Like there's even a guy when we were on the bus going to the last fight. There's like a guy out there who's holding up a sign, like saying "Welcome back, Cage Warriors." Like he's got a good fan base as well. I was like, all right. But yeah, no, I like it. I love throwing down in the yellow gloves for some reason. It feels quite good. I like it. Yeah. So for the sake of the sport, I do really like fighting it. But I know for myself, I need to. I'm looking for UFC. I've already, tried out for the Ultimate Fight and that, and I want to make good money for what I do. I never got to that stage yet, but I've been paid my worth. I'm still paying my dues. Putting, really. From my heart, put my best performances forward, and I'll keep doing that until I eventually land that big money fight, one way or another. And I've got a lot of faith that will happen for me in this sport. Yeah.
Great. What can you say about your Bellator debut?
Oh, my Bellator debut. That broke my heart, absolutely. So, I was struggling already at the time, like me and my ex-girlfriend at the time. She's a beautiful woman, but like, things happen, people, they go their separate ways. So I was really in a state of chaos going into the fight. I just had the fight with Aiden Lee. That was a proper fight. I feel good after that, not after the one on Bellator. So I thought I was a bit ran down from the other fight, and the Ultimate Fighter rejected me. So I was like, come on, I want this. So I thought, well, if you want it hard enough, you better put the work in. So I did. And then honestly, I left no stone unturned. I kept going to work in the warehouse, kept grinding, kept turning up to training no matter how bad I felt. Struggled to get my weight down. I still made the weight. I had this Mike Mazzulli in the ear pointing his finger at me, telling me about I'm overweight when I made weight. It wasn't a good experience. But then come to the fight. So from that much experience of fighting, you intuitively know whether your guy knows whether he can beat you or not. Do you understand what I'm saying by that? Like, your intuition will tell you like whether he knows he's got it or whether he can, come up with that formula to beat you. And I knew he was only hoping he could beat me. Honestly, that's how I felt. When I was in there, Mike Ekendeo's forte is his grappling. If you study his fights, I know everyone can learn and get better, but he has no boxing experience. I've never seen him put anyone under pressure, really beat him with the hands. So I was already beating him in his route to victory, which was the grappling, and I was doing it really comfortably. And then not only that, when I was in there, I was calm, composed, my heart rate was low. I wasn't even under any stress. I know he got Uchimated a few times, got Uchimated into that even went into my realm because my ground game was more advanced than his. So then, that second round come out, Uchimata, I posted out from the takedown, and then my whole arm folded completely in half. I watched it back so many times, and it's so, when I watch it, I'm like, the bone was nearly coming through the skin. And then the annoying thing, I had so many psychological battles at the start. At first, I was like, how has this guy defeated me so brutally when I've fought guys of that much more dangerous than him? Because there's some fighters that really will take your health from you like that. They're so skilled, so dangerous. And I have mixed with them. And then, I was having battles with myself after that and all sorts. That was hard, got handed the loser's purse. See ya, on your way. And then I was out of work. Had to move back to my mum's. And then in my head, and my heart, I know what I want and to achieve. And then I got like the world around me telling you, you're not that guy, you can't do this anymore. Go back to the day job. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It was really hard. I struggled hard. And then I'm a clean-hearted kid in this sport, so like if I get an injury like that, it's all down to my own mind, my own heart, and faith is the only thing that's going to heal that. Eat my vegetables and pray for the better. So I didn't get surgery on it until about, I believe, July or August. So then I was thinking like, all right, so I've got now one arm. How am I going to go forward into my career and fight these monsters? Because like people in this sport, they're so powerful. Do you know what I mean? So I've got to stick to my guns for what I stand for, and I have to keep going forward confidently, which I always have done, and I'm still doing that now. But with this hindrance now, and everyone knows about it, so they can target it. But then my life really fell into chaos after that, like really fell into chaos. So some things happened at the gym. A lot of shit happened. So I was down and out, like out. So when you take someone's purpose away from them, or what they assume to be their purpose, or what they want, like I had nothing left anymore. Like, it sounds pathetic because I've got so much to be grateful for. But at the time, what my drive and it was all taken away from me. So I had no motivation to turn up to work. So when I turn up to work and then there's someone would be the boss of me, I wouldn't be congruent with it. And that was my bad. So it really brought out my ugly side. Like the next year of my life, I wasn't very good to be around. And going forward, I've learned so much about the traps of being an athlete, actually, like the mindsets and all them sort of things. So by coming completely out of the game, like I've had to work in my head, like I read books these days. I never used to do that. I was a meathead. Just used to love working hard, training, always following my heart. So now, honestly, there has been silver linings in it. It's hard to explain, like, but I've grown as a person in a big way, and it's not to do with mixed martial arts. It's very hard to explain, but like I know more about myself, the good and the bad, and I'm a lot less naive. all off the back of injury. When the sport had gone, because it's a very egotistical thing. MMA, do you see what I'm saying? We're competing to be the best, the toughest, whatever. So once you got out there, you're looking at everything else. You see what I'm saying? You can see more than just your little bubble you're in. So yeah, if anything, it's kind of a bit enlightening. It sounds a bit hippie-ish, but it's true. You know what I mean? But that was hard, man. It broke my heart, really did. And then, man, I'm back. You know what I mean? I'm back from my, no shortcuts and nothing. Just the same way I was always doing it. I'm back fighting on, undefeated fighters. Just, I'm happy with myself. And I've done it in good time, in my opinion. Because I did a year of self-sabotage. I didn't. And then Ian Dean gave me a call with an opponent, which was Deki McAleenan, for the return fight. And I had like 7 weeks of kind of like, I'd only just been back in the gym, blew off the gloves, got fit again, but I was getting injured again because my body started to adapt more to all the trauma it would take. But now I'm in the flow with it all. It's like I'm getting stronger every day. It's honestly how it feels. Yeah, so yeah, I'm more happy to be back competing. Can't tell you how good I feel. That feeling of purpose is what I feel.
What are the greatest differences? Can you please pinpoint to the greatest differences between Bellator and Cage Warriors?
Oh, it's a hard one because they always change. I'll say it how it is. Like the money is obviously much better on Bellator. And it's a much bigger company. I believe it's backed by Viacom. Do you know what I'm saying? That's like huge. I see Cage Warriors, is developing. It's so there's swings and roundabouts for both. But like at the moment, Cage Warriors is a bit more tight knit, and it's cool because I see it growing. There's big champions coming from it, and other than that, I've enjoyed fighting on Cage Warriors more, but vice versa, I don't really mind where I am. It's wherever serves the purpose. And for me, it's to get the Cage Warriors world title, because I have to look at what I can realistically do to start with. I can get the Cage Warriors world title in any of the weight classes I choose, and for me, that's a true sport and accolade that once I've done that can lead on to many big things. Because if you look at who's held this world title, it's the greatest fighters in history, and it really is. In the history of mixed martial arts, that is for sure. And they're both great companies. I've had more fun on Cage Warriors. It's not been perfect. Quite frankly, I feel like the judges maybe don't like me so much, or maybe I have to worry from there to build up other fighters, which I better not be, because I see myself as an absolute champion. I really do. So, I feel like obviously the fight I had with Kieran, I studied it many times. Close fight. I believe I beat him. Never mind. I'm not going to attach myself to it. Go forward. The future's bright and prosperous, so I can't be salty about it. So that's the only thing, but I believe it's going to get me into the UFC. Get them Cage Warriors world titles, that's still on the plate, that's still right there. So as long as I'm performing good, because it is the sport, I'm not counting the scoreboard, because that's something outside of yourself. It's quite superficial. I'm thinking about the process. Like if I look at the fight and it's a good fight, that matters to me most. Yeah, man.
So, what do you think of your last Cage Warriors outing against Kieran Lister?
Yeah, okay. So I didn't actually want that fight at first because I was meant to fight Joe McColgan, and Joel McColgan. When I first got announced that fight, I was like, "Whoa, that's a hard fight." I fought on the same card as Joe McColgan on Cage Warriors Unplugged, and he's a warrior, and I know what I see. And but I had a whole 12 weeks to prepare for somebody, and I was like, yeah, course I can actually study the person. Of course I can beat him, you know, when I can study him. So about 3 weeks in, Joe McColgan pulled out. I believe he was getting married, so I was like, fair play, rather spend the night with the missus than with me. Don't take it to heart. So then Dean Truman come through, and I was like, yes, I will have that fight, you know, because that's fun. Former world champion, and you know, yes, they held the belt, and he's an entertaining fight. So someone in the gym told me that Dean Truman pulled out. I was like, oh, has he now? Okay, so I called Ian Dean and I said, Ian, has Dean Truman pulled out? You know, I'd like to know. He said, that's news to me. As far as I'm aware, he's still in. I was like, okay, cool. Just you know, let me know. And then so I was getting ready for Dean Truman, and I was actually studying him. I was like, you know, I was you know, looking at him, thinking, yeah, I'm going to defeat this guy to see how he fights. And then it was 3 weeks before the fight, or 3 or 2 weeks, I got a message saying Dean Truman's out, and then they go, well, I was like, because I was excited, I was motivated for a specific person. Like, you know how, like, if two of your favourite football teams come together, it's exciting. Like, you know, when you see a match-up, that gets you out of bed in the morning, because, like, this is going to be great. And that's the way I saw me and Dean Truman fighting. I was like, that, I would pay money to see that. That's a puzzle to solve. That's a great fight. And then they come through with Kieran Lister. I was like, okay, they know what I'm like. I took Aiden Lee. When I fought Aiden Lee, no one wanted to fight him. He couldn't get matched up, so I fought him. And I feel like, you know, I just got that, didn't get that. So then Kieran Lister come through and thought, alright, instead of always, every time, I've got to learn how to negotiate for myself. So maybe I've got to learn to be a bit more of an entrepreneurial spirit, or I don't know what it is, but instead of more of just a guy that shows up. I said, no, what else you got? I don't like that. You know, I'm coming off 2-fight losing streak, mainly because I was fighting from a place of chaos. My life has been absolute madness, and I've still been fighting through it. I should have gotten a place of order to be taking on these fights. I said, no, who else you got? And he's like, you come through with some other name. He goes, yeah, I don't think he would really take it. So I said, let's take him. That's a more realistic fight for me. And then he goes, Graham Boylan really wants this fight. And I was like, okay. So I go, fuck it. And then I'm thinking, then he comes through and said, oh, you got to pay for your medicals and that. I was like, oh, really? So now this is not working out great for me, is it? Went to training, and I was like, well, I've made so many improvements, and I really want to fight. So I said, oh, go on then, just give me this fight. So, you know, I'm on a 2-fight losing streak, and I know how it goes. Then Mr. Undefeated comes in. Did you see what I'm saying? I'm like, okay. So I'm coming up from featherweight, and I'm fighting an undefeated lightweight, but I do like it at lightweight, so I'm going to see how that goes now. And yeah, I didn't want the match up. I told him I didn't want it. They said, this is you know, the only person that's going to be willing to take the fight. So I said, okay, let's go. And in my opinion, I beat Kieran Lister. I really have studied it. I struggle with, you know, like Frankie Edgar's a good example, and the Diaz brothers. Their face marks up. As soon as I'll go to jiu-jitsu tonight, and I'm going to have gi burns on me.
Yes, I
don't know why.
I do know.
Yeah, I mark up. And like, even when I get a little whisk off there, it swells up immediately. I'm one of them types. Like, if I fight, I studied him. I saw he was touching people one shot from the left hand. He'd touch them and they would go stiff, out cold completely. So I just respected that. I wouldn't be too aggressive with him. I just keep teasing forward. And you know, got hit with the left hand, but it didn't really do nothing. It was like, okay. So I kept pressing forward. I rocked him on the feet. I pushed him back the whole entire fight. And vice versa, if you look at I don't know how they score it, but like Muay Thai strategy as well. I was checking his kicks, his front up head kicks. I counted every single one. I caught it, and I would move the left leg in front of his right leg, and then I would hoof the right leg with my own high kick before he'd even returned it. So personally, myself, I was like, that's a nice bit of skill I was performing under pressure.
against a man a lot more physically bigger than me. But like, the judges they're not noticing these things. I was doing some nice work in there. I brought him on the feet, kept pushing him back. I controlled the cage. This is the bigger man. He's not pushing me around. I pushed him around. I've done the damage to him, and but he done aesthetic damage with the jab, which like I'm telling you, he did nothing to my spirit in that fight. After the fight, I was trying to have a joke with him, saying like, more hands, just playing with him. He wasn't holding himself like a man who won the fight. But it is what it is. He's got like a nice undefeated record now. Maybe, I don't know. But what I will take is the positives from it. I'm happy with myself. And fighting at lightweight was quite nice because I was back in the gym on the Wednesday. I was working out on the Tuesday, and I was like, I'm just in the flow. I'm actually really enjoying myself. Really enjoying martial arts again, and really enjoying learning. So I'm gonna go. Tonight I'm covering a class because Danny Batten, my coach, is away. He's cornering Modestus on the UFC. So that's good. That's prosperity all around.
Send my regards to Modestus and his coach. Modestus was my guest on 2 occasions.
Yes, man. It's good to see. And you know what I mean? Modestus doing well. He's in the gym training. So he's going there. Hand on my heart, I'm always focusing on myself as I have to, as the athlete. I've got to be going forward. I've got absolute faith that Modestus, his dad and Danny, they're going to go out there, do the business. I've got to focus on myself. But I've got everyone around me. Tonight, Raymond Paul will probably be covering the jiu-jitsu class. And he's all in. When I say that, he studies the game. Not just the game, he's so committed to the arts, and that's why I struggled when I fought Jeremy Petty and Kieran Litter, because I kind of went in there with an attitude like, I'm going to be tougher than them, and I weren't committing myself to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I weren't putting on the gi, I wasn't turning up to wrestling practice. That was, I deserved to get beaten that night, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I deserve to get put in a triangle because I'm disrespecting the arts. So now I'm gonna go training tonight. I'm not gonna push myself too hard. I'm just gonna stay there and learn some jiu-jitsu. It's nice. I like it. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's actually really, really nice. Do you have somebody locked in your sights for your potential next fight?
Mason Jones.
Mason?
I'm not there because let's look at how it is. I'm not in the position to be fighting him yet. I was even talking to Mason Jones on the way home. I seen with the 2 world titles there. I said, yeah, well done. Like you know what I mean? I know what I'm seeing. I remember seeing him when he first fought for Cage Warriors. No, it was one of his later fights for Cage Warriors. When I first come into aware of who he was. And he's solid. He's committed to the sport. He's all in. And but I need a tyrant in my life now, because someone, like a big opponent. So, but he'll probably be signed to the UFC. But let's say I'm going to be fighting for that world title at lightweight. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go forward. I can still earn it because the way I see it, my performance of my last fight, it will be better going forward. But I didn't let myself down because I had 3 weeks to, all on my own head. Like I had to just strategize for someone new. And I improvised well, in my opinion. I'm happy with my performance going forward, and I feel confident in the next fight. So, but I have to just stay, with it and keep working. But Mason Jones. But let's look to them. I'm not in a position. So maybe Dean Truman. I would like to fight Paddy Pimblett. Or something like that. They're kind of fights. If we're talking for the pure love of the sport. I want guys that bring that kind of like energy, because there's certain people that go up. Some people play it really safe, which I get, but then some people they fight from the heart. I don't know. There's just something about it. If you see what I'm saying. So Dean Truman or Paddy Pimblett would be a great fight for my next one. But I think from what I heard, Paddy's injured, and but. I'm just gonna get working on myself. I'm not too fussed right now, but yeah, there'll be good fights for me. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
Any
really...
who do you see me fighting? Do you think there's any matchups you think that might look good?
Well, that's a hard question, because Steve Aimable is not 155er anymore. I think that would be a good scrap, but he is now 145, so...
Yeah, he fought my teammate Jordan Chenik, so I don't know. That is actually a really good fight. That's a good fight.
Yeah, the two of you would be good scrap.
It would be a good scrap. Maybe in the future. Like we fought at amateur actually, and yet again, it was a mad fight. It's the first time I had no boxing ability back then, but for some reason I didn't play no strategy. I went in there, boxed with him, and I saw him fighting the Ringmasters. And back then, Steve Aimable was just throwing his head over, and he was piecing people up with his hands. So really, I should have went double leg because my grappling was always been good. But we held it out on the feet. We just kept slugging. We fought for an amateur title. And I was just a bit off the mark because I was only like 19 years old at the time, a bit immature still here. He was 24, so he more mature as a person. But that fight improved me. He got the win that night. That was years and years back. But right now, I wouldn't. That would be a good fight. But for some reason, my heart doesn't want it. You know what I mean? I think there's more exciting matchups that can be made. So I'm gonna wait for Dean to get in touch, see what he's got. Yeah. But you know what? He's a classy guy. That's Steve Aimable. Proper class. There's some fights. I do find that with a lot of these guys, you get all sorts of sports. Some people are just straight up psychopathic, and then some guys are just absolute class, like you know what I mean, warriors and great people. And so yeah, I do love it. You meet some great people and you fight some great people. Like I had a fight with a guy called Andre Gonzalez, and we had a really good fight. And now he's like a good friend because he kind of understands me here. I go down to his, stay around his, we train, we hold pads. Go out, get some food, you know what I mean? Just make some good people in this sport. There'll be a few bad eggs as well, so I'll fight that.
Yeah, it will be definitely a good one, but anyway, there is a lot of high quality guys at 155 roster, but right now the problem is because many people are getting in by the UFC or other promotions, and some people are switching divisions, and that's the problem, In Cage Warriors you rarely have somebody who fights at one weight class.
Yeah. I will go back down to featherweight. I'm definitely going to do that, because if I look at the very pinnacle of the sport, that's where I actually need to be. My coach is an old banging it into my head saying, you need to go back down to 145. I'm like, okay. But right now I'm working full time. I'm only training part time because that's all I can do. But I'm giving it my most. At least I'm working a physical job, staying fit. But I feel so healthy at 145. So I think if I know 155, my pardon. So if I fight more at 155, I feel like I can do more consistent fights. Because after like a weight cut, sometimes it's the weight cut you have to recover from, not even the fight. So I'm gonna have a few more at 55. I will go down to 145. That's when I want the good fights, if you know what I'm saying. I don't want to be going down to 145 just to be an undercard card filler. No. Because I thought, in my opinion, some of the best in the country, I fought people that fought for the world title. Like, you can't be doing that to me. You can't be, I can't be making that sacrifice for no reward just for, some up and comer. I'm not doing that. I'm going to stay at 155, get some good fights. And then when I'm looking at, like, maybe get the 155 title, or I'll go 145 title. But looking at my position, I've got more work to be done. That's, to get myself in the correct position. But I believe I will. I believe I will. I just fought an undefeated fighter. He's been knocking guys out, touching them once they're going down. He can do that to me. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely. I hope the next fight is gonna be with a big name. Would you like to add something else? Would you like to greet someone or?
Yeah. Well, I've got great people around me right now. So going forward, I'm well excited, especially right now. Always my brother Richard Mearns. Dan Frost, I'm actually wearing the company's name right now. That's a friend I was training with in at Total Dojo, and we're still friends, to this day. But we've actually been training in the morning, working pad rounds, and he took his dad's company. So he took over the company, and he's a hard grafter too. So a positive guy that I reflect back with. He sponsors me, and he's helping me loads. So big thank you to him. Dan Beckett. So he's trained in Wim Hof breathing, like with Wim Hof, which is pretty cool. He's absolutely quality, like the energy that I get from Dan Beckett, and just great person to talk to, teaching me about so much. So he's amazing guy. And for my last 2 fights, I worked so closely with Dan Beckett. He's done so much for me, and he's such a hard grafter. So big shout out to Dan Beckett, and I'll be working with him again soon. And of course, BST Academy, I've got to say, Greg Lund, who runs the company, I don't think people can even comprehend how hard it is to occupy what he does, because our academy is huge, and it's always like, it's so prosperous. He's always looking like to develop, or like many obstacles like you wouldn't believe. So I wouldn't like to do a job. It's a lot of hard work. So thank you for Greg Lund that I've got in a world-class facility to go train at tonight. And of course Danny Batten, one of the most influential people in my life. Going forward, I hope I'll be lifting a world title with Danny Batten in my corner. That's what I want. And Lucas Lespagana, I probably pronounced his name wrong. He's from Poland, and after I fought Stephen Hooper, he reached out to me and said, look, I can help you. And he started working on my jiu-jitsu, and he's made me start falling back in love with jiu-jitsu and really working on my game. And Raymond Paul, and I definitely will have missed a lot of people. Stuart Turner, also conditioning coach. Again, another guy fully committed. Like he looks at such fine details of conditioning aspects from such an intelligent mindset. He's written a book. I can't wait to get a hold of it and start studying it, because I'm into reading these days. So working with Stuart's been great. Raymond Paul, like he's such a true martial artist, all in, studying the arts, and so there's a lot of people, and the journey's unfolded. So yeah, man. And also got a new job roofing this week, so that's all good. So thank you to Gary and Dan Frost for hooking me up with that work. So got to make my money, because I'm not on McGregor money yet. It's gonna come one way or another. So yeah.
Well,
yeah, man.
Maybe one day it's gonna come. You never know. Just keep pushing, and the dream comes true, of course.
Straight up. Keep working.
Yeah.
My heart for it.
Thank you so much for the interview. I'll put the video now to creation. You can expect it in a few hours. I'll shoot you up with the message.
Thank you. Great talking to you. And maybe we'll be talking about my next victory in December. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Whenever you want to talk, just shoot me up. You have my Instagram. Just shoot me up, and you'll talk.
Pleasure. Thank you. Take care.
Right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.